Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter Show, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Joe Habib. We have a great show for you today. And as always, you can call in at 870-3857. And we'll be here till about probably about 1 o'clock or so. We want to try to get you guys out of here so you guys can watch the games today. Big day of football, the biggest day. You know, in my opinion, it's the biggest day of football. I think it's even bigger than the Super Bowl. You got the two teams. They're always typically these are better games than the Super Bowl. They're always competitive. You got the teams vying. So I always love this game. I mean, I always love this day. Beeb, you're not a big football guy, are you? Or are you?
Not really, no.
No, your boy Tom Brady's playing. He's back in the championship, baby.
I'm following that, though. I'm following that.
You're following that?
Yeah, I'm following that a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, your brother's a big Tom Brady fan, right?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. He's kind of in between the whole thing, though, because believe it or not, everybody assumes that the Patriots fans are all mad at Belichick because Brady's gone, but they kind of understand the situation. No one really anticipated Brady being this good over at Tampa Bay, to be honest with you.
I didn't think they had that good of a team. I mean, when he went to Tampa Bay, I didn't think they really had that great of a team over there. So if for them to do what they did,
now what's going on is a lot of people are kind of, most people are kind of in between on it, but there are some fans that are kind of calling Belichick out now, and then Belichick's girlfriend is trying to battle back and forth, but she's making a fool of herself because she's saying
needs to stay out of it. She needs to stay
she's saying non-factual things, and she's getting called out on saying non-factual things. So she needs to stay in her lane. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She just let your man fight his own battles. You know what I'm saying? Let
Well, I like what you said about it last night. I like what you said about it last night. You were like, hey, she should stay in the kitchen cooking dinner and let Belichick coach the team. And I agree with that, babe.
That's fake news. I mean, that's what we've been trying to work on right now. We've already called out the media for misinformation, and this is why we have so much problems in the country right now. So, keep it up, and we'll have to take care of that.
You're gonna have to censure me, I guess.
Yeah, may have to cancel you.
I'm sure you're not alone. Tonight. Or today, rather, we're going to talk about Beeb. They got an all-women's pay-per-view coming out. I coughed. I was clearing my throat.
Listen.
I was clearing my throat. I was clearing my throat.
Listen. You got to get behind women's boxing. I'm just tired of the chauvinistic attitude you have.
I didn't say anything.
I'm tired of it.
I can't cough.
I
got allergies, man. I can't cough and just clear my throat when I say it happened to be through that.
This is a litmus test now. A lot of women have been complaining, why can't we get the paydays? And this is gonna please stop with your insolence. I don't want to hear it. All right, stop.
Nothing, man. I was.
This is not.
I'm trying to be understanding. I'm trying to be understanding, man.
So again, this is a litmus test. Let's see what happens here. Clarissa Shields is on this card. Supposedly, she's supposed to be she's the self-proclaimed face of women's boxing. But Katie Taylor, believe it or not, is actually is without a doubt the highest paid female boxer. I'm hearing she's getting 6-figure paydays on the regular, which I'm shocked to hear. But
she's got to be more. She's probably the most well-known boxer in the world. Honestly,
worldwide, yeah. She's actually my favorite. Sure. She's actually my favorite female fighter because she's a very technical fighter, but she's also exciting at the same time, and she's got a great personality. She's just a positive person all around. Not to take anything away from Clarissa Shields, but again, Clarissa Shields just not a big puncher. Katie Taylor's a big puncher. She's an exciting fighter. Clarissa Shields isn't always her fights aren't always earth shattering. You know what I mean? They're not groundbreaking. You know, they're not.
Not even a little bit.
That Christina Hammer fight was supposed to be a great fight, and it just didn't live up.
It was a good performance. It was a good performance, no question.
But again, you know, Katie Taylor always puts in a good performance as well as an exciting performance. Like, she makes you want to see her again. Whether you're a casual fan can watch a Katie Taylor fight, be entertained, and want to come back another time. I'm not 100% sure we could say that about Clarissa Shields, and I don't want to dump on Clarissa Shields. I have the utmost respect for her, but I'm just explaining why I'm a huge Katie Taylor fan. Right.
No, I agree. I like Katie Taylor too. I think
she's the one that I think can cross over worldwide, like you said.
Yeah, she's got more appeal. She's a better all around. We're also going to talk about Canelo Alvarez inks a new contract with Matchroom. But I tell you what, first we're going to get started with the Showtime card. Rais Aleem, we're going to start it off with a friend of the show. He wasn't the main event, but you know what? He was my main event. Rais Aleem versus Victor Pasillas for the WBA interim super featherweight title. Friend of the show, Rais the Beast Aleem wins the WBA super featherweight title over Victor Pasillas by 11th round TKO. He knocked Pasillas down 4 times in this fight. And you can argue, you know, there was a couple of them that looked like flash, like that first one looked like a flash knockdown. That one, I think it was a second knockdown he had, was right on the chin, man. That was a solid shot, and Pasillas was hurt. I was so impressed with Aleem in this fight, man. He was calm. He dominated from start to finish. After that first round, I think you knew he was winning this fight. He's awkward. He's a tough guy to fight, man. He's awkward. He throws punches from odd angles. He could take a punch. He takes a little bit too many for my liking, but he could definitely got a chin. This is a guy, we interviewed him on the show. He moved from Michigan to Las Vegas, didn't know a soul in Las Vegas, left everyone he knew behind, his family, everybody he knew behind, with one goal, to become a champion. And, hey, he realized it last night, man. I couldn't be happy for him. I'll tell you this, man. He's a problem for anybody out there. And after watching that main event with Fulton and Leo, I got it. To me, I would favor Rais over either one of those guys. I would definitely favor him over Fulton. He's just he's a rugged guy. And he's hard to fight. He really is. He's hard to fight. B, what were your thoughts on this?
He looks sharp. And the thing about it is, when you're starting to be able to pour it on a guy and get it and really have your way with somebody, it's very easy to get complacent. It's very easy to get a little over anxious. And the word that you mentioned earlier, calm, was 100% right on point, because he kept going out there and setting up the shots, didn't swing for the fences, didn't get overly excited, didn't force the stoppage. He said, you know what? I'm having success doing what I'm doing. I'm able to just pick this guy apart. This guy's coming to me. I don't have to chase him. I don't really have to load up. I can use this guy's own momentum against him because he's running right into my shots. Mm-hmm. So just let the fight play out and let it take its course. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that's what I love, because a lot of times you see guys, because he's only got 18 fights, he's still, I don't know if you want to call him a prospect, but he's on the cusp of exiting that prospect title type, that prospect title or position, however you want to frame it. And, he showed last night, evidence that he's stepping out of that prospect position because of the way he was patient. He showed poise, and he just picked them apart, just picked them apart. So what can you say? It was a great performance, and I think he could build off of this. And this was a great showcase type performance for him, because he's looking to break out. And if he can keep putting on performances like this, keep being on Showtime, being the headliner like this. He wasn't the headliner, actually. He was the co-feature, I think, if I'm not mistaken, right?
He was a co-feature, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if he keeps putting on performances like this, sooner or later he'll start headlining. And it's unfortunate because he's in one of those smaller weight classes that doesn't always get a lot of exposure, doesn't get a lot of hype. But I'm glad that Showtime put on a card like this last night to give the little guys a little bit of shine because they deserve it. And I thought all around this was a solid card. It was an entertaining card. You could say on paper some of these fights may have been mismatches, but again, I thought they were entertaining. I don't think they were competitive per se, but everyone on this card fought hard. They fought like they wanted to win, and you could see it with every single fighter. And I thought it was a good entertaining card, and I was happy with the whole card all around.
I thought it was a competitive card on paper. Those first two, the main event and the co-main were definitely competitive. You had Rolly Romero. Yeah, I mean, you had Rolly Romero. His guy pulled out. His guy came in heavy. So he got a substitute. And he did what he should have done against a sub. A late sub. That he did exactly what he should have done. So you can't really blame him for that. But and I thought the two fights were very good. I thought that the co-main and the main were very good.
Yeah, and Rolly Romero looked outstanding as well.
Well, let's talk about him, man. Yeah, he won via TKO over Avery Sparrow, who was a late sub. He knocked him down on the first, pretty much controlled the fight. Sparrow's corner threw in the towel. I think it was in the 7th, if I'm not mistaken. Romero, I thought he looked good, man, and he's a late sub, but like we said, man, he was a late sub. He did what he should have done. Now, the guy, Sparrow, was talking before the fight. He said he's going to walk him down. He's going to try to get Romero out of there. And Romero wasn't having any of that. That guy had no idea what he was in for, man. He really didn't. The thing with Romero, man, is speed. He looked really sharp. His speed was good. Everything was good. Now, Romero was supposed to fight Justin Paldo, man. Justin Paldo apparently failed his pre-fight physical, came in 5 pounds heavy. They actually moved the fight to 140 to accommodate him. But the commissioner said, hey, no, it's done. He's not fighting, which I thought was kind of odd. I mean, 5 pounds, listen, man, I don't know how you come in 5 pounds heavy, but I know it was a pre-fight. So it could have been the day before, the day, you know what I mean? I don't know exactly when the decision was made to get Sparrow in there over Paldo, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Listen, I guess the guy was willing to fight. I mean, but hey, I mean, they got his best interest, and if he had to lose a little bit of weight or whatever just to make 140, that that could have played a big part too. 5 pounds is a big difference at that weight too.
Oh, it's huge.
So it's huge, right?
And I mean, and let's give Romero credit too, because like you said, there was an opponent change, but Sparrow's no joke. He's got a win over Hank Lundy. He's got a little bit of craftiness to him. You could see, even though he didn't have a ton of fights, he's never been stopped before. First of all, this was his first time being stopped. But for a guy that has 13 fights, he looked like a guy that was pretty well schooled. So I'm guessing he may have a big amateur background because he knew all the little veteran tricks in there. It looked like in the beginning that it wasn't going to be an easy one. This was going to be one of those fights that Romero was going to have to work for it. But again, like he said, everyone thought I'm just a puncher. I'm just a puncher. I'm just a puncher. But think about, he showed a lot of boxing ability. He threw a lot of feints, set some traps, created nice openings. This was a very skillful performance last night where he showed a little bit of everything, and he varied up his attack. He was going to the body. He wasn't headhunting. The big thing was the feints. He was really throwing a lot of feints and really creating openings, and he was throwing real sneaky shots off the feints. Okay. Yeah. And he looked real sharp. He looked like a sniper in there, really. So I like how he fought, and I like what he said after the fight. I told you I can box. And his trainer in the corner did a phenomenal job really navigating him through that fight. Really. And, you could tell that he calmed him down, because Romero has been a guy that's went in there and looked like he's trying to take guys' heads off. Did look a little anxious in other fights. And I think we've said that before. And we needed to see a performance like this so we could see that he did have another wrinkle. So when the competition does get better, he'll always have this boxing ability to fall back on, and not just the flashy type style. Reminds me sort of like Roy Jones a little bit, the way he throws that hook too, the way he leaps in with that hook.
Yeah.
So
he's a solid fighter, man.
100%. So this guy's going to be very interesting to follow, and I have high hopes for this guy. I think that he has a ton of potential.
Yeah, he's got a big upside to him, and he's the guy you want to see again. And speaking of Sparrow, and I mean, you say he has a win over Hank Lundy. Hank Lundy's no easy out. No. Hank Lundy's one of the more difficult fighters you'll ever have to fight.
That's a veteran right there.
Yeah, I mean, he's a very, very good fighter, man. And what impressed me about Romero taking this fight on choice, he had no time to study this guy. I mean, there really wasn't any time. You just kind of have to go out there and adapt or whatever. And, I mean, he did what he needed to do. He did what you would expect a good fighter to do, and that's get him out of there. He got him out of there in the mid rounds.
I'll say one thing, and I don't want to be a negative Nelly, but I have to say this. One caveat, I think, to the whole situation with Romero is I don't like the fact that he's with Mayweather Promotions. I'm not trying to throw shade on Mayweather. I'll explain to you why. They tend to bury guys a little bit. It seems like right now they're throwing all their energy behind Tank, and who else are they pushing? Really, you know what I'm saying? So I hope this guy doesn't get neglected. This is where Top Rank excels. They know how to build younger fighters. They don't know how to nurture their stars, because once their stars get to a certain level, they end up leaving them and making more money somewhere else. But this is where Top Rank excels. So Mayweather Promotions, I think they have a superstar in Tank, but I think they've thrown all their eggs in one basket with Tank, and a lot of times they tend to kind of let these other guys fall by the wayside, and they tend to neglect these other guys. And if you notice, they don't always keep all their fighters busy either. I remember when they had Badu Jack and stuff, and they had other guys.
They've got a lot of potential over there, but like you said, they threw all their eggs in one. But then you talk about Tank. Well, they tried to bury Tank at one point.
Ishii Smith won the title, and he was never getting fights. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a British guy. They had the British guy.
The guy that fought. What did he fight? Bronner.
Yeah, he fought Bronner there. What's his name? They buried him too.
Yeah. And I mean, they have I don't understand, like, as a promotion, why you would do that. I mean, you make money off these guys. Why bury them? I mean, I don't.
And Floyd's really not in this with everything. He hasn't really put all his heart and soul into the promotional aspect. He's still concerned about promoting his brand, and I get that, but it just seems like
Ashley Theophane, that's who it was. Thank you, Tashi, in the chat.
Yeah,
that's who it was.
Ashley Theophane. It just seems like he's really not putting 100% into this, and it shows.
It really does. It really does. PED in the chat says Raleigh fought a guy, 198 guy. I guess he's ranked 198th. Again, you can't really blame him for that because he was a late sub. You're not going to be able to get a top guy on 24 hours notice. I mean, the guy came in heavy. He can't control that. It was either that or don't fight at all, and he wants to keep busy, especially now when it's hard to get fights, period. Especially now, you want to stay busy. So I thought he looked good, man.
I thought he did a good job, man.
Let's talk about the main event here. Angelo Leo versus Stephen Fulton for the WBO junior featherweight title. Fulton wins a unanimous decision over Leo by the scores of 118-110, 119-109 twice. I thought that Stephen Fulton did a good job here, man. I really did. Angelo Leo was behind the eight ball. He got cut earlier, and it looked like a clash of heads that may have caused that. It looked like over his left eye, I believe. And, he was behind the eight ball from the beginning, but Stephen Fulton did a really good job. I thought inside he did a really good job smothering this guy, getting his shots off, being elusive. And after I guess during the fight, they were interviewing Rais Aleem. And again, I would favor Aleem over either one of these two guys, but that's just me. I mean, I'm probably biased,
really?
but yeah, I would.
Really?
I would favor him over Fulton. I would for sure favor him over Fulton.
I think. Well, you know what it is? His punching power is the X factor. He can crack.
Yeah,
he can crack
for that weight. Yeah, he can crack. He can crack. So, but congratulations to Stephen Fulton. It was a good fight, not a great fight. It was one of those things. Again, it was a competitive on paper. It was a competitive. I thought it was a good card, B.
It was a real solid card from Showtime, to be honest with you. And this was on paper, like you said, this was a pick'em fight. You know what the difference in this fight was? Fulton really was able to handle Leo on the inside. I think he muscled him. I think he bullied him a little bit on the inside. This fight kind of reminded me of, I don't know if you remember this fight, Andre Ward versus Alan Green, when Alan Green was the big bully, the big puncher. And what Ward did, Ward would wrapped up his arms on the inside kind of, and it would release one of them and punch with the free hand. And then he would push him off and kind of pot shot him from the outside. So he was giving him a little bit of everything. And, Alan Green couldn't really get the shots off because every time he got close to Ward and tried to work in that mid-range to up close area, Ward grabbed him, put a body on him, and kind of like leaned on him and twisted and turned him, and that's the thing about Fulton I noticed in this fight. He had a little bit of dog in him. He had a little bit of ruggedness into him. He showed that even though he was quicker, Leo was trying to get in there, trying to be the aggressor, but he was being nullified by the physical tactics of Fulton. So Fulton wasn't just a better boxer. He seemed to be the stronger guy physically in here. And that's why I think he was able to weather the aggressiveness of Leo. So I wonder how that would factor into a fight with Aleem. He it would be interesting. Try to put a body on Aleem, because Aleem likes to kind of work on the inside a little bit too. The beautiful thing about Aleem and Fulton is they have a pretty versatile skill set. They're not just in fighters or out fighters. They can do a little bit of both. But like you said, the X factor, in my opinion, is Aleem's punching power. He can crack.
What did they say that guy was? I heard the stat 270-something and 6 in the amateurs. Pasillas was the guy Aleem fought.
Yeah.
That's a well-schooled fighter. Yeah. And I mean, Aleem just took him apart. And that power, it's got to play a part, And Pasillas was pressing the action, trying to get him on the back foot and everything like that. And he was just getting cracked. I mean, he punches from such odd angles. You know what I mean? He's just.
And here's the thing. Aleem's another one of those guys. He'll have his hands out far, and he just little short twist of the wrist. Doesn't need a lot of space. It's not an overly accentuated movement. It's just like a short, abbreviated little turn, little quick. He has his hand here, boom. See that hook? He just boom, like little, basically a 6-inch punch, and he's able to generate a shit ton of power out of that. You're not expecting a punch. You're not expecting a guy to be able to turn over a powerful shot like that with his hand that way out, and he's not really having a, really turn. He's just basically little quick flick of the hip, and the basically all it's coming from the elbow. It's like boom. It's almost like a Wing Chun punch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Exactly. And he's got that. I'll tell you what, Aleem's got that karate background. He's a black belt and everything like that.
Yeah, you could see it. And you could see it in the way he's throwing his punches.
Yeah, that and his foot movement. He's got that's where he gets those angles. He gets those awkward angles from that foot movement, from his background, So it's a little different, man.
See if we can get him on again. And I want to ask him if he's incorporated some of those punches. Because in martial arts, a lot of times, obviously they use the hip and stuff, but they don't use a ton of shoulder. They have their shoulder, like they use it. The shoulder kind of puts the weight on the elbow, so they shift the weight from the shoulder to the elbow, and they shoot the punch from the elbow. You know what I mean? And that's and you could see he did that. He does that a little bit with that hook. It's coming more so from the elbow you know? And that's the interesting thing about how that punch was thrown. You know what I mean? So because you can't, it's hard to gauge it because a lot of times when a guy will throw a hook, you could see him kind of torque his elbow a little bit. Right. He didn't do it. He doesn't do that. He doesn't do that. So it's very interesting. See if we can get him on again. I mean, I'd love to talk to him again.
Yeah, I would too. I'll talk to him and see if he's able to come back on again. You know,
yeah.
He's a champ.
Great interview.
You know.
No, he told us. We asked him, "Will you win the title? Will you come back?" He committed to us.
People say a lot of stuff, though. You know what I mean? No, I tell you what. I think he would. I absolutely think he would. Back. He's a good guy, man. He is.
He'd come back.
He'll come back.
This is the Ringside Reporter podcast. Come on, why wouldn't
anyone? Hello. I mean, come on. We're big time, son. You know. The other action last night was the UFC. All right. So we had Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier. You know, typically we don't report on the UFC unless they're really big fights. Anytime McGregor fights, it's a really big fight. And it was a really big win for Dustin Poirier last night, who knocked him out in the second round. I thought Conor had a really good first round, but Dustin took him down in the first round, wore him down a little bit, and then the leg kicks, those leg kicks were just vicious. You know, Conor has a thing where he stands, you know, and his front foot's out, just like a regular. He's incorporated more of a boxing type thing, you know, more of a boxing stance. And you can't, it's hard to do that in MMA. It really is, because you got to worry about takedowns. You got to worry about single legs. You got to worry about, you know, kicks to the leg and all that other stuff. And that's what he got. I mean, he never checked any one of those kicks. He said his leg was dead after the fight. He actually had to leave the ring on crutches. I mean, couldn't even stand. I mean, those leg kicks were just vicious. I mean, you think about like getting kicked in the calf repeatedly, or getting kicked in the, you know, right in the quad. I mean, it's just vicious, man. And, you know, listen, man, I don't care who you are. If you can't move, you're not going to be able to fight. And that was the case. Poirier caught him and then just put him away. So it was really good. After the fight, of course, everybody dumps on McGregor, you know, which is par for the course, including Floyd, who never misses a chance to dump on anyone. Floyd took to social media and said the following: con artist McLoser can steal everything from me and be loved, but I'm hated. This just lets you know that that racism still exists. His words, not mine. This is what they hate. It's sad to be a poor black kid from the ghetto that has dealt with racism your whole life and then work extremely hard to put yourself and your family in a better position. And most of the hate come from my own people. What's he talking about? What you know, I mean, I don't understand this.
Can I say something?
Can you translate it for me? I don't know.
It's so funny that you're bringing this up, because I heard him say something, but I didn't even read his comments.
Right.
But I never like to get involved in this whole race thing. But I gotta say something. I'm at the gym the other day, and people that I talk to that really don't watch combat sports, but they say, "Oh, I can't wait to watch Conor McGregor." This guy's loved. He's loved by everybody. Floyd was hated by everybody. Okay. And both guys, personality-wise, hard to like either one of them, my opinion. Mm-hmm. I'm not a huge fan of either one of them as a person. That's my opinion. I mean, that's how I feel. But the thing is this: Conor McGregor, to me, is more irritating, and he's more, I dislike him more than I dislike Floyd. Because the thing about what he does is he actually puts people in danger. He hits people. You know, what he did on that bus, the way he kind of
right.
that and he got nothing for that, virtually nothing for that.
Which I don't understand, I'll be honest.
The whole thing about him punching that old man at a bar, Floyd would never do that. Floyd would never throw a dolly at a bus. To me, this guy has done way worse things than Floyd. He's even been accused. This guy's been accused of sexual assault.
So is Floyd. Floyd's been accused of beating women and everything like that.
And so but this guy's been accused of it just as much, if not more, and recently. We're not going to justify it either way, but this is recently in this type of climate, where much worse climate than Floyd was in. But we're not justifying either way. We're not going to play the game of what's worse. We're not going to play the whataboutisms here. But the fact of the matter is, this guy has been getting a pass and continues to get a pass.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing I could think about it is maybe it is because of his color. And I'm not that guy, and I'm saying it.
Right.
I'm not that guy, and I'm saying it. But the question is Floyd the guy to be the one to criticize? Because Floyd has done a lot of questionable things outside the ring.
It's like glass houses, you know.
Yeah, so it's like why? But you know, so in other words, you can't justify what you did, Floyd, by playing the whataboutism game with this guy. You know what I'm saying? Let other people do that. But the message that Floyd is saying, I think, is somewhat is pretty much accurate. But the messenger shouldn't be the one delivering it, in my opinion. Right. Now, if Andre Ward came out and said something like, you know, what's the deal? Why?
To it. Yeah.
But I'm not going to listen to it to you because you can't justify some of the. Again, you hit Josie Harris allegedly in front of your son. Your son wrote a statement saying you did it.
Clearly, he did it.
I can't find a reason why I would not believe the son. Okay, so you hit you know the mother of your children in front of your son. Okay, that's you know incomprehensible to me. So at the end of the day, he's right, but he shouldn't be the one delivering the message. Let someone else say it. And I've been saying it all along. This guy is loved. I have people talk to me, everyone loves this guy. But
you know,
everyone hates Floyd. Everyone hates Floyd. Everyone hates Adrian Broner. Like again, there is a hint, there is some, to me, there is a hint of racism here. It really is. Because this guy never gets criticized for anything he does. Never.
Well, okay, that's not entirely true because he did get criticized with the bus thing. No question about it. He does get criticized with the sexual harassment stuff just as much as Floyd would have.
I don't know, man. Not to the same extent.
I mean, Floyd beat up his ex-wife. I mean, there's a big difference there.
But this guy still gets endorsements. If it was someone else,
the whiskey company. I mean, it's not like he's getting endorsed. He owns the company. He's like part owner or something like that.
But again, he's in part. Like he's in part.
Let me tell you the difference
with that. Why would they not drop him?
Well, let me tell you the difference. Let me tell you the difference here. And I'll tell you this. If it does come out that he, obviously, with the sexual thing or whatever, if he gets convicted or whatever, then they're probably going to drop him from the face, because nobody's going to have to, want to do that. But let me tell you the difference is that Conor, you could tell is two different people. Okay. So when you see him online and on camera and stuff like that, he's always very boisterous and everything like that. When you see him in, after the fights last night, he couldn't have been more of a gracious loser. When he lost to Nate Diaz, couldn't have been more of a gracious loser, and he, when you see him at the press conferences after the fight, he's more of a, okay, it was, what he's doing. This is all like a facade almost, it's all like, he's being a character. Floyd, we don't get that. I don't ever get that with Floyd. I think he's a jerk before the fight. I think he's a jerk after the fight. I think he's a jerk during the press conference or after the press. I've never seen Floyd.
I disagree.
Really?
I disagree. I'll explain to you why.
Go ahead.
I was watching the press conference after he beat Canelo.
Yeah.
Go back and watch that. What he did to Canelo was the classiest thing I've ever seen a veteran do. He passed the torch. This is what he said. He hugged him, shaked him, said that this guy he's the future of the sport. And he passed the torch to him. And he could not have been more gracious and winning. I think Floyd has changed a lot. I still think he's got a little bit of, that persona in him. I think he's shallow. I think he's very shallow and materialistic.
Sure.
Shallow and materialistic more so than Conor. Okay. Yes. But Conor's more of a jerk. I don't think Floyd's as much of I don't think one good thing about Conor is he seems to be like kind of a loyal guy. Floyd will throw you under the bus and get rid of you as soon as. Floyd reminds me of Trump a little bit. Like he's not a good friend, but he has shown a lot of humility after fights after he won in his older years. You know what I mean?
In his older years. Yeah, you know what? And I go back to the Arturo Gatti fight. Where he said that
see, that was a long time.
Gatti was a great champion. He said Gatti was a great champion after the fight. Now, he called him a C-level fighter leading into the fight and everything like that. But after the fight, he knocked him out. Floyd was overcome with emotion. He was crying after the fight. And he said, Gatti's such a great champion and everything like that. So, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I think so. But I think that, again, he's just more, if you're looking at, charisma-based and everything like that, Floyd's just not that guy. And I think that's why people just can't get behind him. They can't get behind him, man.
Yeah, I disagree.
You think he's a charismatic guy? I mean, is he a likable guy? Is he a guy you'd like to hang out with?
Let me. I wouldn't want to hang around with either one of them. But if I had to flip a coin, to be honest with you, I would probably hang around with Floyd more so than Conor, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because Conor is more of a caricature than Floyd. He's more of a caricature than Floyd, in my opinion. I'll tell you why. Because when Floyd used to do it, when you watch that 24/7, that came off really authentic. It seemed real. When Conor does it, you can tell it's fake. You can tell it's contrived. You can tell he's like that. It's a fake bravado.
Right.
It never came off as a fake bravado to me. And Floyd's right. A lot of people did copy Floyd's blueprint of being the bad guy. And then Conor was like, oh, when he was losing in that Khabib fight, he says, oh, it's only business. Floyd was like during the fight when he was getting beat up, oh, it's only business. Like, again, you're breaking kayfabe, bro. You're not supposed to do that.
No,
so Floyd,
I'll just let you know how that fight was going. The fact that he said, hey, it was only business, take it easy.
It's only business. So
that lets you know exactly how that fight was going.
To me, Conor McGregor is a cheap imitation of Floyd, in my opinion. But guess what, Eric? More people agree with you. Because if you took a poll, who's more likable, Floyd or Conor?
For sure.
Conor would win.
Yeah.
Conor would win.
There's just something about Floyd's personality to me that rubs me the wrong way.
Most people would agree with you, but I just don't see. I see it a different way.
Given Quality for Life, who has nothing ever good to say, says that the media lies about Floyd. Everything Conor gets ends up true. What did the media lie about Floyd?
The media doesn't lie about Floyd.
I don't think they lie about Floyd at all.
This is what they do. They will really, in other words, if Floyd does do something wrong, everybody and their brother will talk. Like, Floyd's got a magnifying glass on him. He's like they're looking to find things wrong with Floyd. They're not really looking to find things wrong with Conor McGregor. So that's the difference. If Floyd does do something wrong, they'll never give him a pass on it. Like, that whole thing, all his past stuff he did 20 years ago is still being talked about today. As if it happened yesterday. I will agree. Sure. The media will never accept Floyd. They just won't.
This is the thing, though, and JC hit it right on the head, is that casuals love Conor. Casuals, like it or not, drive the business. They drive the business, and they love him, and that's the thing. And that's who you have to impress. You don't have to press the hardcores. They're not big enough.
Like, when I go back and watch those Floyd Mayweather, like when I go back and watch Floyd Mayweather in 24/7, I watched all those episodes. I guess sometimes I go back and watch some of the clips and highlights. He was hilarious.
He's entertaining.
Conor to me is just like so corny. So it just seems like it's so forced.
I don't know, man. I think Conor's pretty entertaining.
When Oscar got up and started saying, it's gonna be a rough, and then Floyd gets up and goes, it's gonna be a rough, and like the way he mocked him, it was just so. Do
you remember when he was talking about Oscar's dogs? Nobody wants to see them dogs. They want to see meat. He was talking about Oscar's dogs. It was just funny, man. It was funny.
He was just when he created that persona.
Yeah.
Back in 2006, 2007, when he turned into the the Money May, he was hilarious, bro.
And you know what the thing is? Like, he was never an exciting fighter. He was never an exciting fighter, but people tuned in to watch him get beat.
Well, once again, I mean? I disagree with that. Go back and watch that.
You think he was exciting?
Go back and watch him at 130. He was really
exciting.
No.
That was Pretty Boy. When he went to 147, no.
I didn't.
He'll tell you too that he almost had two careers. One was at Pretty Boy. One was.
You're right. You're right. I'm sorry.
Pretty Boy. My God, that guy was amazing. Yeah. I mean, honestly, if you're being honest, have you ever seen a better 130, 135 pounder than Floyd Mayweather?
He's the best 130. No, he's the best 100. He's the best 130 pounder of all time. You can make at 135. Duran could probably still be the best guy at 135.
You could.
Floyd didn't do it. Floyd didn't do enough at 135, and you could argue he actually lost the first Castillo fight. So
I thought he did lose that first fight. Definitely won the second fight, but at 130 pounds, I've never seen a fighter like that.
And here's another thing.
Fighter I've ever seen.
Here's another thing. He was garnering a lot of attention with both personas. He had success with both personas. So he was able to transcend his whole persona and recreate himself, and was even more successful. So
100% he was more successful as Money Mayweather than Pretty Boy Mayweather. And you got to give him credit too, because he did that because of his hands. He had hand problems and he had to switch his style up. Wasn't it Mayweather Sr. who had to switch his style up because I think he got shot in the leg or whatever. That's how he made that, and it's a Philly shell, but it's like their own version of the Philly shell. It's like it's a little bit different than your average Philly shell type.
James Toney, Bernard Hopkins, they all had a kind of similar.
Who was better? I mean, James Toney or Floyd, as far as that Philly shell went? I mean, they were both so good at it.
Well, you have to say Floyd because you never lost with it,
That's true, I guess, but James Toney went up in weight and everything like that, where Floyd kind of stayed in that little pocket right there. I don't know, man. They're both amazing at it.
Floyd fought in 5 weight classes. I mean,
that's true. That's very true. Very true. All right. So let's move on to the upcoming fights here, which I don't believe there are any. There are no upcoming fights until February 6th, I believe. Let's see here. Yeah, February 6th on ESPN Plus. Couple guys you've never ever heard of. And then February 13th is our next big fight with Joe Smith Jr. versus Maxime Vlasov for the vacant WBO light heavyweight title. And then Richard Comey making his return against Jackson Martinez. Also Xander Zayas on that card versus James Martin. That's on February 13th. So a couple weeks away. We got, is that Super Bowl? When is Super Bowl? I guess
it's in February, probably.
I guess it's 2 weeks from today. I guess it'll be 2 weeks from today. So because I guess next week is whatever.
It's usually the second week in February. Can you believe this month? This month actually flew by within the blink of an eye. This is like a fast month, bro.
Yeah, Sanchez, thank you so much. He said February 7th. Given Quality for Life says, love to see Canelo try American Joe Smith Jr. I guess Joe Smith. That'd be a good fight. That would be a very good fight. I don't think you're going to see
Canelo. I don't think you're going to see Canelo at 175 again, unless he decides to fight Gilberto Ramirez up there at 175.
Yeah, that's a big fight. That's a tough fight for him. I mean, I thought, like I said, man, I thought Kovalev was getting the better of him in that fight. Obviously, Kovalev didn't win the fight, but I thought he was doing pretty well. Speaking of Canelo. Canelo signs with Matchroom for a 2-fight deal with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom. I'll tell you what, how ironic is it that Canelo sues DAZN? All right. And they still end up retaining him to fight on their network. So he's got a 2-fight deal coming up. He's going to fight Avni Yildirim coming up. Let me see here on February 27th. This is interesting, Beeb. This is going to take place at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. This is where the Dolphins play. I don't know how many seats they're planning on selling for this one, but I don't think, and listen, man, I don't live in Florida, but based on stuff I've heard and everything like that and stuff I've read, and again, I don't know the whole thing. I don't think there's restrictions on seating there. I think they've given them the green light no matter what, COVID, whatever. I think they've given them the green light to go ahead and pack those stadiums. And
I was talking to my cousin yesterday, and she lives in Massachusetts, but she has a place in Florida. And she says, I'm not going down to Florida. I heard it's like the wild, wild west down there right now.
It has to be, right?
It's crazy down there right now. Like that guy, what's the governor's name down there?
Is it Santos, Ron DeSantos or Ron DeSantis or something like that?
DeSantis, Ron DeSantis. Yeah. He's everything is like a free for all down there right now.
Yeah, it's got to be like COVID central down there.
She's like, yeah, I got a vacation home down there. I usually go down there in the wintertime. I haven't been there since this COVID thing. And I don't plan on going back anytime soon. Until they get this thing straightened out, because she's told me it's like the wild, wild west down there.
Oh man, and then they're gonna have this fight over there, like I said, and I don't know where the Super Bowl takes place this year, where that is or whatever, but. Yeah, Miami's like the place. They're their first ones that opened everything back up. And they said, COVID or no COVID, screw it. We're just going through with it. And they just opened everything right back up. So now I think businesses down there may have a say about that. Like, hey, we're only allowing X amount of people. But the NFL, I don't believe, has put a limit on that either. So they're going by individual cities. Some cities, Cincinnati, I think they allowed 5,000. I don't know how many people they were, maybe 10,000 in their stadium or whatever. So they were spaced out and everything like that. Yeah, JC says the Super Bowl's in Tampa. That'll be another interesting thing to see, like those tickets, if it's going to be a packed house, like a sold out, like it typically is, or how they're going, are they going to space them out or what they're going to do? I don't know. But that Canelo fight is, would you go to a fight right now?
Would I go to a fight right now?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. I would.
Well, you've already had, so you're immune. You would be immune to it. You would go to it anyway. Would you go to see the Canelo Yildirim fight?
Yeah, I would go if someone gave me tickets. I wouldn't pay for it though.
Yeah, I wouldn't pay for it either. I'll tell you, and everybody's dumping on Canelo, talking about him fighting Yildirim next and not a top guy. Listen, it says mandatory. You guys want to see a unified champion? That comes with the territory. I remember Klitschko. They were comparing him to Joe Louis back in the day, the bum of the month club. Hey, that's how it is, man. Mandatories are mandatories. What are you going to do?
It is what it is, bro.
Yeah, it is what it is. How silly, if you're Oscar De La Hoya right now in Golden Boy, how silly do you feel that Canelo's still fighting on your network for a different guy? That's got to be like you breaking up with your girl and she starts dating your best friend, I mean, what in the world?
What do you do if you're Golden Boy? How do you how could you even possibly salvage that relationship when you did such a dishonest thing? You told one, and can I also say this? If you're DAZN, right? Why would you even want to do business with Golden Boy anymore? You know what I mean? Well, again,
you got him sued, so I don't know.
They still ended up keeping Canelo, so maybe they don't care at this point. But can you ever, if you're in the zone, right? Can you ever trust Golden Boy again after being lied to like that?
No,
it's a bad look, right? Is it or is it not a bad look?
It absolutely is, and De La Hoya is not exactly putting great fights on the horizon right now. Matchroom's doing what they can. They're putting up better fights. They're putting up decent fights. And they got a decent card coming out. Not worth the $20 a month on DAZN, but it's a decent stuff.
But that's a
Given Quality says that he should have taken the Yildirim fight in December and gave Callum a full 8 weeks. listen, I think he could have gave Callum 12 weeks, 6 months, 2 years, whatever you want to do. Callum Smith is not beating that guy. That's just, it was a bad matchup for him. It was just, he's not beating him.
But Canelo had to prepare too. He had to, in other words, the situation was tough for Canelo because he was in camp. I don't know how long he was in camp. Obviously, I think it's safe to assume he was probably in camp longer than Smith was. But if you don't have an opponent really nailed down until later, so like that's kind of tough for you. How do you prepare? So I think Canelo was at a disadvantage too, because even though he gave Smith 5 weeks notice, probably it was harder for Smith to get in shape and lose the weight or whatever. I understand that. But in terms of strategy, it was hard for Canelo too, because you know what I mean? So
yeah, man, I don't care how much time you give Smith. You can bring Emmanuel Stewart back, and you know what I'm saying? I mean, nothing he could have done. He's not going to beat Canelo. He's just not. And it looked like he had the tools, like I said, with the size and everything like that.
Listen to Notorious VC says, why is the show so early? We want to watch you guys, not football. Last week's shows did good views during the game. Again, you're Canadian.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Is he Canadian? Is Notorious Canadian?
You're Canadians. You don't give a shit about the football. This guy,
everybody loves football, my man. And we do this every year because of that, because I like to watch games too,
I was just about to say that. I don't even if everyone in that chat said I'd rather the show be at 7. Yeah, I do this for you. I don't do that. I do this for you more just as much as I do it for them.
Oh, for
I know
sure.
you really love the football. Why would I say, oh, Eric? Well, why would I take that away from you? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's the best weekend in sports. This and the Super Bowl, I mean, it's the best weekend.
I know Eric loves the games. No disrespect to anybody in the chat, but I know Eric loves the game. So, and again, this is what is this? What, a couple weeks out of the year?
Right. 2 weeks out of the year. 2 weeks.
It's like 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks out of the year. Let Eric have his fun, bro.
Yes.
And plus, right. I do watch the Super Bowl. I always watch the Super Bowl. So.
Yeah. And most of the time, New England's playing in it anyway. So Joe has his fun every year. He's got Super Bowl titles up there in New England and everything, man.
Yeah. Given quality, says Callum looked pathetic. Okay, again, hindsight is 20/20. Nobody expected that fight to be that one-sided. At least I didn't.
No, I didn't. I told you I thought Callum had a fighter's shot. I thought Callum, was going to make this a dog fight. I thought Callum was going to be close.
I expected a couple tough rounds out of Callum, so
yeah.
I just hate this. All the people coming out after, like you have to say before the fight, like there's a guy on it, like Lion Killer said it was going to be a one-sided fight, that he didn't like it. So he can say these things, but unless you said things before the fight, don't be the Monday morning quarterback, bro. It's a bad look. It's a bad look.
Yeah.
For you.
And you know what? I tell you what, I definitely took an L on that one because, I was one of the, and even though I picked Canelo, I thought for sure Callum, this might go the other way, but a lot of people, like I said, Lion Killer was one of those guys saying this is going to be a one-sided wash and everything. Like a lot of people, there were spots of people saying it was going to be a one-sided fight, and I just didn't see it. And man, it was a one-sided fight.
Yeah, I thought it would be.
You did too, didn't you? You thought it would be.
I thought it would be a clear victory.
Yeah,
but I didn't think it was going to be a shutout, bro.
No,
it was a shutout.
As big as that guy was, and as good as he can fight, as good as he looked in that suit, with the World Boxing Series or whatever.
I expected him to win 3 or 4 rounds, Eric.
I didn't expect that.
I didn't expect the shutout. What's funny too?
What?
I had a conversation with Lion Killer on another podcast with D-Style. The roundtable on Thursday, and he was saying that was a cherry pick. Canelo's cherry picking guys. You know what I said to him? I go like this to him. I said, well, let me ask you a question. Can you name 5 super middleweights better than Callum Smith? He couldn't do it. So how's that a cherry pick, bro? In my opinion, I think David Benavidez would beat Callum Smith. But again, David Benavidez asked himself out because he didn't, he had the cocaine issue. where he got stripped for that, and then he had the weight. Then he had the weight. Came in overweight. So again, he's got to work his way back into the equation because he's did some pretty questionable things that took himself out of the equation. I think style-wise and stuff I think he would beat Callum Smith. I think he's just based on the eye test and skills or whatever. I think he's the best super middleweight. But if he can't get his shit together, what difference does it make what I think if he can't get his shit together? So he didn't deserve a shot based off of his history. So do I think Caleb Plant's better than Callum Smith? I don't know. I'm not. I would say, at the time I would say no. I'm not 100% sold on Caleb Plant. Who else is out there at 168?
Genevieve Smith and Caleb Plant. Those were the three big ones. And in my opinion, I had Smith ahead of all of them. I mean, just based on what he did in that tournament.
Smith was looked at by pretty much everyone as the best super middleweight in the world. But now,
and he went in there and walked right through that guy. I mean, it was a one side.
But now he's trash. Now he's a cherry pick.
Of course.
Let's just give Canelo credit, man. He's a good fighter, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's earned it now. He's earned it.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, you can't take anything out of that performance. And I get, you say maybe he didn't have enough time to train or whatever. He could have trained for 6 months, could have trained for 6 days, could have trained for 6 years. He was not going to beat Canelo, period.
Not going to beat.
End of story. Canelo's just too good. He's as good as I thought Smith was and as good as Smith is. I mean, the level that Canelo is on is just, he's in another stratosphere. I mean, it really is. No question. All right, Beeb, let's talk about this all-chick pay-per-view, man. We got a women's card coming up. Claressa Shields will be headlining an all-women pay-per-view. The main event will be Shields versus Marie-Eve Dakar, who is IBF champion. This will be a unification bout because Shields got the other titles. Shields told ESPN, quote, "Women's boxing is a hot commodity. Don't let any other network tell you that it's not. Women's boxing is in just like women's MMA. All we need to do is have our own platform and show them that we have fans and that that we can sell pay-per-view buys." Yeah, okay. Listen, the fight will be on Fight TV, Beeb, and the fight is $29.99. That's a tough sell. We got a pay-per-view here with fighters that absolutely nobody knows, who have not been promoted. Nobody on that undercard has been promoted. I saw a couple of the girls. I don't know who they are. There is no outlet to promote these fighters individually. They just throw a pay-per-view together. It's awful. It's a disservice. It really is a disservice to these fighters. It's horrible promotion all the way around. Listen, you have to build up stars. Okay? If you want to have a pay-per-view, you have to build up stars. Are you going to pay $29.99 for this fight?
Am I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy it.
You're gonna buy it?
Yeah. I want to support the women. I want to support the women's boxing.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
You're gonna buy it too.
I'm not going to buy it. There's no way in the world I'm buying it. Are you kidding me?
I bet you're gonna buy it.
I wouldn't pay $9.99 for the fight. All right.
Why, Eric?
I don't know who's on it. I don't know any of those girls. It'd be like, it'd be like paying for a Showbox card.
Can I tell you something?
Sure.
I hate saying this. It's going to do under 100,000 pay-per-view buys.
Did you say it was going to do under 100,000? Son, this is going to do under 10,000. The only one paying for this fight are the families of the fighters. Son, this ain't going nowhere.
Come on.
My wife just texted me, said, yes, you are buying it. No, I'm not. There's no way, son. Come on, man.
Someone in that household is going to buy this pay-per-view.
Well, it ain't going to be me. I'll tell you that. Again, man, you have to create stars. You have to at least create something. What is it about Claressa Shields that I want to see?
Do you know what
She doesn't knock anybody out. She's not a vicious fighter. She's not a skillful technician. You know, I mean, and listen, she is a technician, but I'm not going to pay for that. I don't even know who this girl is that she's fighting.
Katie Taylor is the only woman right now in the sport of boxing that could actually headline a card and get ratings.
You know what they need to do is they need to put it on pay-per-view. Okay, they need to put a pay-per-view fight on with the main and co-main. I'm getting the death stare from my wife right now, who's looking right across from me during the window. You know, they need to put a main and a co-main on. Put Katie Taylor on as the main event, or Clarissa Shields on as the main event with this title on the line, and then put a solid co-main, like a guy's co-main, and that builds it up. That gives her credibility, and then she can go on and do whatever she needs to do.
What I would do, you know, with some of the female fighters, is I would put them on pay-per-views, like have them co-headline or be a co-feature in a big pay-per-view, like with Tyson Fury versus Joshua or something like that. Try to get some of these women that aren't well known, put them on the big cards and have them like as the second or third fight underneath the main event. They need to showcase the women more like that. Put them on put them on underneath, like be this, like I said, the second or third fight underneath a big card, like a Tyson.
Put them on the second fight. Put the champions on the second fight, or put them on the main event and put the main event that you know would actually headline underneath them.
They need to be on some, they need to be on some big pay-per-view cards, but just try them out underneath, like as a co-feature or a third fight or whatever, and get them exposure that way. And then eventually you could build them up so they could headline their own. Don't throw them out there now, and then it does horrible, and then you turn around and say, well, you can't draw now, when you haven't built them up. You got to build them up, like what Don King used to do with Christy Martin. What did he used to do? He used to put him on Tyson's undercards. He used to put her on Chavez's undercards. Yeah. And she was starting to make some headway. And then when she fought Layla Ali, they headlined their own card, and that they did well. Yeah. They did well.
And then Christy Martin was known. Everybody wanted to see her then. Nobody wants to see Clarissa Shields. They just
build her up. Why does she have to headline all the time? Put her on a big main event and put her underneath. Put her underneath a huge pay-per-view fight. Put her on that card.
Not feed her Titus. Feed her somebody she's going to knock out viciously. You know what I mean? Start doing those. You know what I mean? Start feeding her those guys. You know, start feeding her that. You know, something to build her. You need something to build this girl up. Her personality is not great. You know, so you take Katie Taylor, who's a good fighter. You know, we don't need a whole lot with her. But with Clarissa Shields, you know, she could be a superstar. But you know, they got to build her up right, and nobody knows. You know, and maybe the problem is her. I don't know who is promoting her. Who's promoting her right now?
I don't really have a promoter, I don't think.
Yeah, well, there you go. You know, pay a promoter. You know, start getting it out there. JC is infatuated in the chat with Snow Queen. Who is Snow Queen? Snow Queen is that blonde chick, right? Isn't she that blonde chick who takes her clothes off on Instagram or whatever?
Yeah, you see her?
Yeah. I think you sent me the thing. You sent me like a link to Snow Queen or something like that. JC wants her to bring us on and bring her on here and everything like that. Yeah, she's like a Instagram stripper, right? But she interviews boxers too.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. There's a lot of those out there. I saw like I think there's a beauty boxing or something like that. She's another one that I think she interviews fighters or does like a little podcast, and then in between then takes her clothes off on Instagram and stuff. So a lot of those out there.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get one on. Maybe she's going to take her clothes off on our show. There you go, Beeb. Beeb's single. He's ready. He's ready to go. He's ready to swipe right or whatever you do on those little apps.
Oh, God. Get me.
All right. Josh Warrington vacates his belt. Josh Warrington vacated his IBF featherweight belt after the IBF refused to sanction a fight between the other two champions. All right. Oh, geez. Yeah, I just saw this. So, yeah, I didn't. Okay. First of all, I saw the Snow Queen. This is my wife on here.
My fault. It's my fault, Lisa.
It is 100% Beeb's fault.
I texted him,
and I didn't even know what the link was. This is 100% true. He said in big capital letters, "Check this out." He always sends me boxing articles, and I thought, hey, he's sending me another boxing article. I look on there, this chick's taking off her clothes and everything like that. What am I supposed to do? I clicked off immediately. There's no question.
Lisa, I have to be honest. I really think she's a very smart analyst when it comes to boxing. So I don't really look at it for the physical thing. I look at it for her mental acuity. I look at her for her mental acuity. Yeah.
Yes. He looks at her mental acuities, and he takes that into consideration. Yeah.
She has great knowledge. She's a great interviewer. So I give her that respect.
Beeb loves watching her knowledge. Beeb loves her knowledge.
No, she does a good job interviewing fighters. I have to give her that respect.
Great. Yeah.
I have to give her that respect. I overlook the wardrobe. I don't really put much stock in it. I don't judge people by how they dress or how they don't dress, whatever.
That's a gentleman. That's a gentleman right there. You don't judge people by the way they dress.
I don't judge people for what they wear and for what they don't wear, if you know what I mean.
I think we all do. That's good stuff. That's good stuff, Beeb. I like it. Anyway, as we were saying, Beeb, so Josh Warrington, we're going to try to regroup here, dropped this IBF featherweight belt. Now, listen, there's two champions out there, Zucan and Gary Russell Jr. He dropped it because the IBF says, hey, we're not going to sanction those fights. So as long as you're our champ, you're not going to fight those guys. So he said, okay, screw it. I'm dropping the belt, and I'm going to fight these guys. Beeb, there's a slight problem with his logic, though. He doesn't have a fight lined up with either one of these guys. But he doesn't have a fight lined up. And let me tell you this. Let me go another step further. Let's take it down to street level here. All right. Beeb, you know who his mandatory is? Josh Warrington's?
Who is it?
Kid Galahad. IBF said, if you ain't fighting Kid Galahad, you ain't fighting with our belt.
He got robbed.
And Josh Warrington said, hey, I'm getting rid of it. I'm not doing it. Listen, I don't blame him because he got waxed in that first fight and he got a gift decision to come out of there with that belt. All right. Notorious VC, thank you so much. He said, Mrs. Lord in the chat, salute. Perfect. Love it. Is he ducking? He's ducking Kid Galahad, no?
Don't like to use that word, but it certainly does appear to be he's avoiding.
He's definitely avoiding him. If he gets rid of the title,
let's put it in kinder terms. He seems to be a little bit unenthusiastic to get back in the ring with Kid Galahad. If you want to,
Can you blame him?
I thought he lost the fight 8 rounds to 4.
I thought he got waxed in that fight. I didn't even think that fight was close.
Or you could even say 9-3 if you wanted to. Kid Galahad
beat down.
I'm going to say something. It may sound corny or whatever or cliche, but Kid Galahad fought a beautiful fight, like technically from start to finish. His strategy, it was just brilliant the way he fought Warrington. I picked Warrington to win the fight, and I was so thoroughly impressed that Kid Galahad was able to pull out and put on a performance the way he did. That was such a beautifully tactical performance, the way he outboxed him. It was
ridiculous the way he outboxed him. He made him look like an amateur. He really did. He made him look foolish in spots in that ring, man.
And Kid Galahad is the type of guy that hasn't always maintained his discipline throughout the course of a fight. He's been questionable in terms of just he'd be interviewed a lot of times and be asked questions about, like, oh, this is what he was asked one time, and he was very offended. And he goes, "Your style is very unorthodox." And he goes, and he said to the interviewer, like, "What do you mean? What do you mean by that? My style is unorthodox." He says, I can fight. I know how to box." So he's basically being told that he doesn't really have conventional boxing skills. And I'm not going to go as far as saying that I thought that was the case with him, but I didn't know he had those type of conventional boxing skills.
I didn't think he was going to do what he did to Warrington, put it that way. No question. I mean, we all thought Warrington was going to steamroll this guy. And at least I did. And yeah, man, that was tough. And you know what? Galahad's the kind of guy that gives you nightmares because you can't put a glove on him. And when you hit him, it's never, you never hit him flush.
Did you remember my reaction when I was doing the live cast of that fight at the end when the scores were announced?
Yeah.
That was classic, bro. that was like one of my funniest moments, bro. Like the look that I think that is right up there on my with my Andrew Ruiz reaction when he stepped on the scale and weighed 283.
Yeah.
Those are the two.
Well, you know what I thought was great about that fight? I think you did a better job promoting that fight than anybody else. I really do, because you kept talking about that fight, and when that fight happened and you did that live cast, I'm like, I was on the fence about watching the fight because I thought it was going to be a blowout. I'm like, whatever, And you had talked this fight, and you were so excited for this fight. I was like, let me check it out. And man, I'm glad I did. I was like, and I'm listening to you as I'm watching the live cast, and I'm watching the live cast, and I'm watching the fight. And I'm like, man, he's making this guy look silly, and you're going nuts on the live cast. It was just exciting. Did you hear the commentary? Did you hear my commentary? And did you hear the other people's commentary? See how biased they were against friggin' yeah. Oh, for sure.
It was disgusting, bro. It was disgrace. It was disgraceful. Oh my God, it was disgraceful.
Man. So that's the deal with so he's going to try to make a fight with Zucan or Gary Russell with two fights that are going to be, I think, difficult to make. But the other guy that that wants to fight him, that gave him the best fight, he doesn't want to fight anymore. So good luck. Good luck.
What a shame.
So earlier this week, it came out Floyd Mayweather was engaged. All right. Earlier in the week, it was announced that Floyd Mayweather was engaged to his lead dancer at his strip club Girl Collection. A very fine place, by the way. Floyd immediately took to social media to say that wasn't the case and he wasn't engaged. He's never been engaged. Fine. Listen, Beeb, I don't know. I probably would have took the chat too. I wouldn't be real, eager to announce that I was engaged to a stripper. That's just me. I mean, that's I don't know. Would you be eager to announce that you were engaged to a stripper, Beeb?
I don't judge people for what they do for work, man. I mean, that's not right.
I mean, that's like one step away from a prostitute, no? That was cold-blooded. That was cold. You know what? I'm going to hold you accountable for your actions, son. I don't like that. That was not right. Not right at all.
I don't know if I would call a stripper a prostitute. I don't know about that, but you know what's crazy? He didn't come out right away and deny it. This guy is so weird sometimes because information will be put out there sometimes by him intentionally.
It's by him. Of course it is.
Okay, but it's almost like he's trying to get a feel for how people are going to react to it to make his next move. He'll announce an opponent he's going to fight, right? And then he'll see how the public responds to it or reacts to it, and then then he'll change his mind on who he's going to fight based off of how. And he didn't respond to this right away. He didn't come right out and deny it right away. So I just found that kind of weird how he waited a while before. I think he almost waited a whole day before he came out and said that it's not true or whatever. I don't know, but it is. What it is.
Lisa says that I sure talk about strippers a lot. Listen, this was not, in all fairness, Beeb sent me this story. So I put it on the news. It wasn't even my idea. It wasn't even my idea.
You could not help but see this story. It's all over the place.
All over. What am I going to do? Ignore it?
It's basically shoved in our face. How can we avoid this?
Awful. It's just shoved down our throats. You think for 1 second that I like talking about strippers? Do you think I enjoy looking at strippers? I mean, come on. Right, Beeb? Get my back on here.
I agree. This is just part of the course. This just comes with the job. I mean,
absolutely.
This just comes with the job. We have to report on.
You have to report on the news. A lot of times you don't like the things in the news, but they have to tell you about them. Got to talk about it, right?
Everything can't be a specific topic all the time. You know, we have all various topics that we have to talk about. So,
agreed. Nacho said that Floyd's place is located in a crappy neighborhood in Vegas. Shocking, because all strip clubs are located in really high end areas. You know. How does Nacho know where the place is located? I guess he's been there. Oh my God. Yeah, Grievous said it's a hooker's paradise. There you go. All right, guys. Listen, enjoy the games today. Beeb, who's going to the Super Bowl here? What do we got? We got Buffalo and Kansas City in the first game, and then Green Bay and Tampa Bay in the second game, I guess, or I don't know who's playing first.
Do you think Tampa Bay is going to beat Green Bay?
I'm pulling for Tampa Bay. I would like to see him win. I really would, man. I would. You know what? And I wasn't a big Brady fan when he was with New England, but this is such a comeback story. You know? Yeah, this is such a comeback story. Why not? I'd like to see him win. I don't think he will, but I'd like to see him win.
I think Green Bay will win, and I can't see the Bills winning. You think the Bills are going to win?
I think the Bills got a real good shot. But you know what? You know what is crazy, though? Their offense has been sputtering the last couple of weeks. In the playoffs, they haven't looked the same as they did prior to. That offense isn't where it was. And Kansas City looks like it's hitting on all cylinders, man. They look pretty good.
What time
I think it'll be Kansas City and Green Bay.
What time is the Tampa Bay game? Is that at 3:30 or 4 o'clock or something like that?
I think that's a 6 o'clock game. I think the Green Bay is a 6 o'clock game, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm going to watch that game.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to watch that game. Yeah, I'm kind of, it's funny. It's hard to not root for a guy like Tom Brady. He's just a solid individual. He's a good person.
I think so too. I mean, did you saw the picture of him last week where he was playing, what was it? Catch with I guess Drew Brees' kids, I guess at the end of the game, the New Orleans game, he was playing, he was playing catch with them after the fact and everything like that. That was nice, man.
He's a genuine guy. He's a likable person. I have nothing bad to say about Tom Brady. Bill Belichick kind of comes off as a very he kind of comes off as like a grumpy type person. Doesn't seem like a very upbeat guy. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. Low Blow Champ says Green Bay is the early game. However, my son says the Buccaneers game is at 3:30, and Antonio is, if nothing else, all over football. So he knows his stuff. Antonio, if you're listening, what's that?
I said the whole family got YouTube channels. I
know, right? Yeah. Elena's a YouTube star. I got Antonio over here. I got Lisa,
Does Elena have a YouTube channel?
She does. I don't, you know what? I'm embarrassed to say that. I don't even know what her channel is. I've seen her videos that she puts up or whatever. She put some video up. And it was nuts, man. I mean, it went, she had 6,000 views on it.
No way.
It was ridiculous. Yeah. It was like a video she put up.
Is her channel Elena Lorda?
No, it's something different. It's something completely different.
What did she talk about?
Well, she was talking about some other channel. I see she was talking about this TikTok people, the people on TikTok, they make these videos and whatever. And I guess she was critiquing them or whatever. That video went through the roof. I mean, she had 6,000 views or something crazy. The first day. Ridiculous.
Find out where her channel is. I want to see what she talks about.
Yeah, I gotta hook you up with it. Yeah, I gotta give it to you, man. Yeah.
I'm a YouTube junkie.
Yeah.
I go to bed watching YouTube on my phone, and I wake up watching YouTube on my phone.
At least I hate when I watch YouTube.
It's probably why I have carpal tunnel syndrome, because I'm always holding the phone. freaking ulnar neuropathy because I freaking hold the phone.
You got phone neuropathy. You got iPhone neuropathy.
Because I hold the phone all the time.
Oh,
That's
man.
hilarious.
So yeah, man, I'm taking Green Bay, and I think Kansas City will be in there. I think they'll be in the Super Bowl. So
I'm going to have to agree with you there. I don't think Buffalo's going to win, and I don't think Tampa Bay is going to win. But I'll be voting for Tampa Bay. I'll be rooting for Tampa Bay. No question.
I'd like to see the underdogs. I'd like to see Tampa Bay and Buffalo. I think that'd be pretty cool. Pretty cool. Whether it happens or not, who knows, man. We got to get our football channel. We got to get a football channel together and make parlays and stuff like that and tell people who to bet on.
Yeah.
I'll make a channel and you take the other side of it and we'll make money, you know? That's how they do it. You remember how they like the 800 numbers, like Wayne Root and all them and Jim Feist, you'd call them up and they'd give like half of the people one pick. Like if Buffalo and Kansas City, they'd give half of the people Buffalo, they'd give the other half Kansas City. So they're always winning.
Freaking brutal, those guys.
That guy Wayne Root is like a big political guy now.
Green Bay versus Buffalo. Oh, Antonio says Buffalo's going to win today.
Antonio's taking Green Bay and Buffalo. Wow, he's a big Kansas City guy too. He's got like a Mahomes jersey and everything.
I'll say one thing. I think the Buffalo and Kansas City game is going to be the more competitive game, though. I think Green Bay will probably soundly beat Tampa.
And they're so good. Green Bay has got a really good team this year. They really do. They might just win it all. D-Style taking the Bills. Like it. I like it.
He loves the Bills.
Does he? He's from El Paso.
Yeah.
What about the Cowboys and the Texans and stuff? He's a Bills guy.
He likes the Bills.
Yeah. No Cincinnati fans out there. No Bengals fans out there. Just me.
What do you like better, the Cleveland Browns or you live closer to Cincinnati, right?
Yeah, we're in Cincinnati, so I've always been a Bengals fan.
You live in Cincinnati? Oh, you do live in Cincinnati. That's right.
Yeah.
He hates the Bucks.
Yeah.
He doesn't like the Cowboys.
He doesn't like the Cowboys, huh?
A lot of people don't like the Cowboys.
A lot of people hate the Cowboys, right? What are you going to do? All right, guys. Well, listen, man, enjoy the games today, and we'll be back at our normal time next week. We'll do the same thing for the Super Bowl, the 12 o'clock show for the Super Bowl, but next week we'll be back to 7 o'clock. Enjoy the games today, guys. That's going to do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. You can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at jhabib1 and find our YouTube channel at ringsidereporterlive.com. And you can also find me on Twitter at ringside73. And guys, have a good one, and we will catch you guys next week.